Well, hey there, everybody. It's Nancy Fox, the Business Fox. Yes, it's Saturday, and I've created this video for you because I took a break from writing my book, and I wanted to share about a really important and amazing theme that's been coming up for me and for my clients over the last couple of weeks in a really major way. And I just can't wait to share about it with you. So, over the last 2 or 3 weeks, some very, very interesting things have been happening for some clients of mine, and I want to share about them with you. And the theme for today really is, can you trust your intuition? So a couple of my clients have been having some very interesting experiences. The first one I want to tell you about. One of my clients is a writer. She's an online marketing writer. She's been doing it for a long time. She's been pretty successful at it, and now she's been really working on growing her business in the writing arena. And she's been working on a variety of different avenues to tap into regarding this writing. Along the way, it became pretty clear to her that her passion and her yearning were going in directions other than just the writing. She wasn't quite sure exactly how and where, and so it became this sort of exploratory process with us, and we've been having a lot of very in-depth conversations way below the surface about the logic and the strategy and the tactics. It's been going a lot deeper than that. So I've been asking her an awful lot of questions about what's really been coming up for her, and she's been yearning to work with people more on the mindset and success side, especially for people who have gone through really big life changes the way she did. So she was telling me about, so we've been working on that, and she's been making progress on that, and it's been going well, but she's been finding herself sort of having these blocks and these feelings of resistance along the way. So she was telling me about her trip back from the holidays. She was visiting her family, and while she was in the car, it was a long drive back, and in the car she was listening to one of her favorite mindset gurus, and that, she was listening to an audiobook, and when the book completed, she turned off the audio in her car, didn't turn the radio on, and she was sitting in silence for a while. And the next thing she knew, she was describing this to me, she said, the next thing I knew, I saw in my mind's eye this audience in front of me. And I started speaking to this audience. Now, she said, I've never really spoken in public before, but I saw myself speaking, and I started talking to them, my attendees. I started talking to them about how their mindset was getting in the way of everything that they wanted in their life, that they could have anything they wanted once they learned how to retrain their brains, really rework their mindset. And I started giving them a lot of the knowledge I've been gathering, a lot of the experiences I've been having around mindset, and the breakthroughs I've been having around mindset. And I started sharing with them, and I started giving them motivation and inspiration and tools and tips for how they could actually shift their thinking and shift their lives. And she said, I went on for about 45 minutes, and I just watched myself and listened to myself just speak, and my audience was rapt, and they were applauding, and I was watching this whole thing happen in my mind's eye, and I don't know where it came from. I don't know. I never experienced anything like that. I just opened my mouth, and out the words came. And I was sitting there, like the hairs on the back of my neck were raised, and I was getting goosebumps. And I said, what happened for you? You were in a moment of grace. You tapped into your universal source, your spirit. It was a moment of grace. It was a moment of pure grace, and your intuition was speaking to you. And when my intuition says that your intuition says that what you're supposed to be doing is speaking, and that's why you've been resisting all these other things that we've been working on. They're close, but they're not the thing. And your intuition has shown you what your thing is, and that's what you need to be working on. And she goes, I never experienced anything like that before. I mean, where did that come from? I said, Well, that's the authentic you. Your intuition was telling you exactly what to do. There was no question. It wasn't like you were trying to figure it out. There was no figuring. The real you gave you the answer. Another client of mine had something quite similar happen where her business was moving along really well. She was a trainer, and she was having good results, but she found herself not like, going full tilt gung-ho in her business development activity. She was doing well, and she was progressing every single month. Her income was increasing. She had broken through some goals, but she wasn't like super duper thrilled and excited about the business development piece. She felt like something was missing. So we started to dig in there, and I started to ask her some probing, into just in-depth questions. And I said, what thoughts come up for you about what you really think, where you should be, what you should be doing? Like when you don't judge yourself, when you don't have that inner critic or that inner, the editor inside of you telling you what's right and what's wrong, what's the first thought that comes up about what's really next for you? And she said, I don't really know, but I keep having this yearning to go to New Zealand. I said, really? And I said, where'd that come? She goes, I don't know. I've always wanted to go there. I said, well, maybe your intuition is telling you that what you'd really like to be doing is blending what you do with your love of New Zealand, and maybe you're supposed to be working there or doing something there. She goes, oh my gosh, that's exactly what, that feels right. That's what I want to do. So we started just sort of mulling around on that, and we started talking about other thoughts that had been cropping up for her that were more like her inner voice was telling her things, and she was hearing direction, but she never really spoke about them, and definitely New Zealand was there. The next week, she got a message from somebody in New Zealand asking her to work on a project with her. Your intuition is always speaking to you. We don't often listen to it because we are an evidence-based, fear-based society. We don't trust intuition. And frankly, given the corporate background that I had and this very tactical, transactional business training that I got, I never would have trusted my intuition, but that's changed a lot. In fact, I've used my intuition so frequently with my clients, I never really make any noise about it. I don't really talk about it. I don't really do anything except utilize it when I'll say, well, I just sort of have this thought that for you, what do you think about that? And when it resonates with them, I know I've tapped into my intuition about their direction. And when they feel it, they know it's there intuitively, that's right for them. It's not necessarily based only in data and in fact, or there's no evidence about it. It's just it's like a real knowing, your intuition is your inner knowing, and it's always the truth. We may not believe it, but it is the truth. So if you don't believe me, the intuitive powers have been used with some of the most successful innovators in the world, like Steve Jobs, like Jeff Bezos of Amazon, and Bill Gates. They have all talked about how they have trusted their intuition, and some of the most life-altering and world-altering decisions that they have made have come from their intuition. In fact, we would not have the iPhone today if Steve Jobs had not trusted his intuition about the touch screen smartphone. That was an intuitive moment. It was a moment of pure intuition because there had been nothing like it. There was no evidence that it would work or that it would be successful. He trusted his intuition and ran with it, and the world is a forever different place because of that. So I want to give you 7 steps that sometimes people find it really hard to tap into their intuition, and they don't often trust it, and maybe that's what's been happening for you. But in your business and in your life, if you start to tap into your intuition and your inner knowing, it always is the right direction. And it's sometimes challenging because we're so fear-based and so doubt-filled, and we're so geared to show me and evidence and data that we don't often develop the intuitive skills and talents and powers that we already have. They all have within us. There are 7 steps to accessing your intuition. I'm going to go through them quickly, and then in future videos I'm going to dive into each of them a little more in depth because it does take some practice, and I have a lot more to say about each one of them. So the first step is you have to get in a quiet space. Your intuition will not have an easy time coming forward, or you will not be able to experience it or see it, or just experience it if you're not quiet. So my client was in the car, it was quiet, there was no radio on, there were no distractions, and that's how her intuition bubbled up. So meditation is a very important, meditation can be done, it can be done eyes closed, eyes open, depends on how proficient you are, how knowledgeable you are, but getting quiet is the key thing to start having your intuition come forward. The second step is to ask your mind or ask yourself a question, and your mind has to answer. It's an open-ended question like, who should I, or how may I, or show me, or how will I, or where will I, or what should I? And so keep your mind open. How, why? Not. You don't want to ask your mind a one-word answer question. It needs to be forced to answer, and your intuition will bubble up. The third step is, once you've asked your mind a question, you have to listen. You have to pay attention. The answer can come from within your own mind and your inner voice. It can come from someone else hearing the message from someone else, reading a magazine, watching a TV show or a movie, or a lyric in a song. You've asked your mind a question, and it may come up from within your own, here in your own head, or it might come from outside, and you'll go, that's it. Don't force it. You can't force it. Don't try to get your intuition. Get quiet, and then you need to feel your intuition, and you need to experience a positive feeling for it to come into a good space. Your intuition cannot come into a negative space. If you're feeling anger or fear or doubt, your intuition cannot come up. So you need to cultivate the positive feelings of joy, happiness, laughter, enjoyment, inspiration, motivation. All of that will allow your intuition to come up. The fifth step is, do not judge yourself. Give up those judge's robes. Don't criticize your intuition, and don't have a judgment about it. Just be in the space of permission. That is why I want to have the sixth step is really for you to develop this allowing mechanism within you. You need to allow new thoughts and new experiences, new ideas, new possibilities, new opportunities. If you don't allow them into your space, your intuition will not bring them to you. You need to surrender, right? And the seventh step is, you need to learn how to receive. Receiving is one of the hardest things for most folks to do. But if you don't allow yourself, you can't receive abundance, prosperity, ideas, creativity. None of it will come into your space. Your intuition will not bring it to you because you're not ready to receive it. So you have to get ready to receive. It's a skill. You can develop it. Like going to the gym, you develop new muscles in each of these areas, and your intuition will bring you new brilliance, new ideas, new possibility, new clients, just a whole new, it may bring your whole direction. It may solve the biggest problem of your life. It may bring you into a whole new path. You don't know. So intuition, can you trust your intuition? In fact, not only can you trust your intuition is actually your most truthful answer in everything in your life. So go with it. This is Nancy Fox, the Business Fox. Thanks so much for being with me. So start practicing your intuition. Take note of those 7 steps, and I'll be sharing more about them in future videos. Bye-bye.